What's happening, everybody? Doug Lane here, Fastlane Car Care. Got this beautiful 1991 Toyota pickup. Man, it's in really good shape for its age. I don't know what the mileage is. Man, it looks like 80. Oh shoot, 189,000 on this old girl. I never would have guessed it. Well, I'm gonna show you how to take these door panels off. One tough thing you've got to figure out when you're a business owner is, do you even want to mess with these old classics? They pose a lot of problems on their own, and honestly, a lot of times to me they're just not worth it. Generally, I will turn down classics every day of the week, but just use the screwdriver here. This was for a customer, good customer I've dealt with for a while. It was one of his buddies. Well, really I thought it was his when he set it up, but then it ends up being one of his buddies. But here nor there, it's the start of the slower season for me. So I just figure, we'll just do it. Oh, okay. So, the problem with doing classics are problems like this. Like, these seals are super tight. You're not going to be able to get a shank down in there and get your film in there without causing some issues, more than likely. So I want to go ahead and I want to take this door panel off. Well, that poses another set of problems, right? How do you know if it's going to work? Like, they oftentimes have issues, they're old trucks or cars or whatever. And, you don't know if the door panels have already been meddled with before or what the case may be. And you don't want to be on the hook for breaking their stuff. Hopefully you guys can see how that works. Basically just like a horseshoe clip, I think is what they call it. That comes right off. But I know that in order to get the kind of results I want, I'm going to have to tear this truck down. I'm going to have to take some stuff apart. I generally speaking don't like doing that, but we're going to. Take that little clip off. That little guy comes straight down. Now, I don't think there was a little push tab. Oh, must have been missing on the other one. And that's probably why it was missing. And then just gently, I believe somebody's been here before, judging by this right here. That right there is supposed to go, either it's supposed to go on the inside or it's supposed to go there and the other side didn't have one. I don't know. But these are not like your modern cars. You don't want to just grab a hold of the panel and start pulling. You don't have to hook the rivet or tab or whatever you want to call it directly. You just got to get close to it and just kind of gently pop it back. And use extreme caution on these, man. Where it's not like a new car where you can just call the dealership and get new parts and pieces. They don't make stuff for a lot of these vehicles anymore, and like I said, that's kind of one of the reasons why I usually don't do them. Square body Chevys, man, most of them are just rusted to hell, and it's just not worth the hassle to do them. But as you can see, I'm partial to my Toyotas, and like I said, long-time customer. It's part of the slowdown. It's getting to be that time of the year where it's just not as much happening. I don't have dozens of people beating down my door every single day. So I said, man, you know what? We'll do it. Now, one thing I do, one thing I do is when I do classics, I don't schedule anything else for the day, for the most part. So this little guy's probably gonna come off. This isn't 100% necessary. You could cut around it, but you're not gonna get a super clean cut. Don't care who you are. I shouldn't say that. Somebody out there make a fool of me. I'm sure there are some people that could get a really, you know, like a razor blade length, but like this isn't even, so why, like, how are you gonna mimic that, you know? And of course, when the latch is closed, you're not gonna see that anyway, but you'll have that sometimes. Okay, so they've glued that on there. That's good. Hopefully they glued this side too. And the reason I'm not using an impact is because we're dealing with glass. I want to have a much better feel. You know, make sure we don't strip anything, break anything. I think this truck's been restored, dude, because it is just way too mint for 200,000 miles. But it's a nice little truck, man. Nice little truck. We're gonna get them all fixed up, but I just kind of wanted to pop on real quick and just touch on it because the business videos seem to be extremely popular. They you know, they're usually a top performer, so I bet you can pull this seal down out of there and pull this glass out, but I really don't want to do that. They seem to be a top performer, which tells me that, oh geez, you guys are interested in learning kind of the how-to and the do's and don'ts and stuff, not just with tint. So like I said, I figured I'd make a video on it. Hold that thought. All right, so we're back after that phone call. That's another thing, man. If you guys are just starting out and you've got to, you know, do everything on your own, like, you'd be surprised at how much time just answering a couple phone calls or a couple texts, it can really eat up your time. Like, I literally just spent probably 7 minutes on the phone with a guy about an appointment he's already got, and yeah, I mean, you figure 7 minutes for this guy, and then you got to go in your system and change your stuff, which I was able to do that at the same time. I've got 2 phones. But, man, just little stuff like that just eats up your time. On a busy summer day or whatever, you get 14, 15 phone calls. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand or know about window tint. Like, they don't know, like, the shades and all that kind of stuff. So you may have to spend 10 or 15 minutes kind of explaining to them how this and that and the other works, or what shade might be the best for them. And, you know, I never tell customers what shade they want. Like, I'll make recommendations, but I'm not going to say, like, oh, you'll be able to see perfect out of 20%, you know what I mean? Because then what happens is, if they have an issue with that 20% film, you know, they're going to say, well, not necessarily, not all the time, but that leaves the opportunity open for them to say, well, you told me blah, 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 and then, you know, that kind of puts it on you. So this truck's going to get 20 on the front doors, it's going to get 5 on the back glass, and I'll probably do 5 on the strip, and I'm just going to do a somewhat short strip. I'll probably come down just a little bit below this factory edge, this factory sun strip or whatever. I ain't going to go with like a huge percentage or a huge, you know, strip. But yeah, back to like classics and business decisions, man. Like, look at this. Like, you know, this is kind of messed up. We've got a vent shade on this side, but not the other side. Just little things like that, guys. You want to pay attention to any, like that clip was missing on this driver's side door panel, but wasn't missing on this side. You know, you want to document these things, and that way customers can't come back on you, which, you know, I've been really, really fortunate and had really great customers and never had an issue with that kind of thing. But, you know, all it takes is once, and it can, you know, especially on an expensive or high-end car or whatever, it can really, it can really mess you up financially, guys. So you want to definitely make sure you're covering your butt, and all that stuff takes time. So that's like, tie that back into why I generally don't do classic cars, just because of extra time constraints. So like I said, if I'm not doing, like if I'm only doing this one car today, or one truck, you know, do you charge more because you're obviously losing income, or do you charge the same? Like, these are all decisions you have to make. So I'll tell you, I'm charging the same, but I fit it into my schedule where I can do that. I'm not really gonna lose much money by doing this car, because like I said, it's a slower part of the year. It's starting to slow down. It's October. It's getting cooler, which actually today is unseasonably warm, but you know, these are all factors. You know, somebody calls me in the middle of the summer when I've got people calling me every single day wanting tint done right now on new cars. I'm not doing your square body Chevy or your box Caprice, or like, I'm just not doing it. Catch me in the slower season, well, that's a little bit different story. It's really nice to have jobs like this where you know you can take your time and you don't have to worry so much about, you know, rush. That way you can take your time, get a good quality result. You know, on these seals, on these back windows, just point out that they're rubber gaskets, so they're not like your door seals where you can tuck the film in, or modern cars that will have a ceramic border here. We're gonna have to cut this pretty much exact all the way around, which is gonna be pretty tough, especially on the bottom with the seat. We're gonna have to see if we can't slide it forward. And then of course we've got to install it, and then of course we've got to deal with this deal here. And you know, I got a couple little tricks. I got some things that I'm gonna do. I don't think I'm gonna make this video all about tinting classics. I really just kind of wanted to touch on some of the difficulties of running a business and how to make good decisions to keep you from losing money. It's inevitable. You are going to lose money at some point in your tint career, whether you have to pay for damages for something, whether you take way longer than you should on a job, or you know, something of that nature. You're going to lose money, but you want to minimize that. You want to lose as least often as possible and win as often as possible, if that makes sense. So that's what we'll focus on that. So that's, again, I know I'm kind of rambling, but bring that full circle. Technically, if we break down how much money I want to make per hour, I will lose on this truck. But where I'm going to gain is, I've got another customer. I did a solid favor for you know, an existing customer who's going to remember that. Because like I said, I don't generally do classics. So, you know, I told him, I said, hey, I really don't usually work on trucks that old or cars that old, but this day is super slow. I'd rather put you on the schedule on this particular day when I know it's going to be slow, take my time with it, and you know, it kind of balances that out. Because here are the options. What if, because this is a Monday, what if nobody books that day? You know, you'll have days where you're trying to give it, you know, people will call, hey, okay, I got Monday, that day doesn't work for me. And then, you know, somebody else calls, well, I got Monday that day, that day doesn't work for me. You know, I would rather have something on the books than nothing on the books. So just kind of worked out, guys, where I was, you know, sitting here like, I don't have anything on the books, and this guy was like, hey, I got this truck that I want done whenever you can do it. Worked out perfect. So there you guys go. I'm gonna quit rambling, get to work, and I'll probably bring you back for the finished product.